Before the dark times. Before Disney. I was actually a big Star Wars fan. I mean, I didn't read all the books or the comics because, well, they didn't sell them over here. But I did love the movies, yes, even the prequels, and of course, played a lot of video games. When it comes to Star Wars games, they usually don't stray too far from the source material, and even when they do, they still follow the tone and spirit of the movies. But today's game is a little different. Republic Commando is a first-person shooter where you play as a leader of an elite squad of clone commandos that go on missions behind enemy lines. The game opens with a quick montage of your early life and training, while a Kamino scientist tells you how much more badass you will be compared to an average clone trooper. You will meet your squad mates for the first time, and then you're shipped off to Geonosis for your first mission.
See you planetside, sir!
And that's it. There are no fanfares, no classic Star Wars opening crawl, just this cold blue text against an empty black background. The overall tone is noticeably grittier than what is usual for Star Wars, and you will notice it rather quickly. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves and start from the top. The movement is very smooth. The walk speed may seem a little slow, and your jump exists, which is the nicest thing I can say about it. But all that quickly becomes a non-issue as you play. You start the game with two weapons, a rechargeable blaster pistol and an assault rifle, which will be your main workhorse weapon throughout the whole game. It may feel somewhat weak because it doesn't feel like it has a lot of punch to it, but it does its job admirably enough. You can also aim down the sights like this, and if you play certain modern shooters, it might set off some alarm bells. But don't worry, it doesn't impact your accuracy at all. In fact, there isn't much of a spread either, and my less than stellar marksmanship aside, the accuracy is almost pinpoint. A bit later on, you will find attachments that turn into a sniper rifle and a grenade launcher. The grenade launcher works about as you'd expect, and blowing up a group of enemies with a single shot is never not satisfying. The only unfortunate limitation is that you can only carry up to 4 shots at a time. The sniper rifle is also very good. To quote one of your squad mates, it has 2 zoom modes, up close and personal, and hello you're dead, which also come with an added benefit of having 0 aim sway. You just point it at the target and pull the trigger. Or you can simply shoot without optics, it works just fine as well. As with the grenade launcher, it's held back by the small ammo pool, which brings me to the blaster pistol. It's your weakest weapon that you're supposed to fall back on when you're out of other ammo, but I actually found it pretty useful for dealing with the small fry when I want to save ammo as well. You really shouldn't write it off completely, especially when combined with melee strikes. Melee is very good in this game in general. Most normal enemies can be taken out with just 1 or 2 strikes, and larger ones still take good damage from them. And I have to say that Knuckle Plate Knife is pretty stylish. You also get 4 types of grenades. Thermal detonators with delayed explosion, sonic grenades that explode on contact, electric stun grenades, and flashbangs. And all of them have their proper uses. I never really used flashbangs, but in hindsight they would have made my life easier in a few places. This is your main arsenal that you will be using throughout the whole game, but you also can pick up certain weapons dropped by your enemies. The first one you'll get is this Geonosian beam cannon.
By the force, this thing is ugly.
It melts enemies good though. Other weapons range from a shotgun to
A Wookiee rocket launcher. This thing is twice my size. Best be careful where I point it.
They are all pretty good, though personally I don't care for this submachine gun. The problem here is that all these weapons share the same slot, so you can only carry one at a time. Sometimes you will have to choose which one you want more, and other times your favorite gun just won't be available. Now, this is a great weapon roster, but don't go thinking that it makes you invincible. I know the game is called Republic Commando, but you cannot just stand in the open and spray bullets like Arnold. In fact, you are very easy to kill. This super battle droid downed me with just a few shots, and these fellows can melt you from full health to 0 in less than a second. There is a good reason why the first thing the game teaches you is how to use Bacta stations for healing. You really have to be careful about taking damage. Thankfully, you are not alone in your quest, because you have your team, the Delta Squad. And honestly, what a team they are.
6-2, combat ready.
This is the door to the bridge. Expect a large welcoming party.
Now I'm really going to rack up the kills.
Not if I get him first.
Just don't get so caught up in counting that you forget to cover me.
You have Scorch, the demolitions expert.
Debris blocking our path here, boss. We need to detonate the rocks to get through. And I'm not just saying that because I love to blow stuff up.
Yes, you are.
Fixer, the by-the-book tech guy,
Green means go.
and Sev the sniper, who is very enthusiastic about his job.
Man, this place gives me the creeps.
On a scorch, nothing better than a jungle hunt. Hiding in the bush, putting a plasma bolt through a hostile's cranium. Makes me feel alive.
Okay, now 07's giving me the creeps.
A jolly bunch, really. These guys are just pixels on my screen, but it would be no exaggeration to say that I would trust these men with my life. And that is in no small thanks to them being actually competent at their job. Bad ally AI is a death sentence for such a game. But the Deltas perform spectacularly. They do still have an occasional brain fart like Scorch and Fixer over here just crouching in front of super battle droids, but you know, it never feels like you're babysitting them. They know to take cover like this, they crouch walk to avoid blocking your line of fire, they will scatter to avoid getting hit by enemy grenades, and sometimes they will even pick them up and return them to sender with varying degree of success. That said, you cannot expect them to carry you through the whole game. The success depends in large part on how well you manage your squad by controlling combat formations and issuing direct orders, all of which is easily done with single button presses. You have 3 squad formations mapped to function keys by default. Search and Destroy that has the squad move towards their objective while engaging the enemy, Form Up that makes your squad mates stick close to you, and Hold Position, which is self-explanatory. Direct orders are issued simply by pointing at something and pressing the use key. Hacking a console, placing explosive charges, taking a sniper position, mounting a turret, you name it. The game was originally designed for a controller, so it's very easy to get a hang of. One thing to note here is that while each of your squad mates is supposed to be a specialist in his field, none of them does anything better than the other.
No terminal can match my link hacks or skills.
I'm sure it was done for the player's convenience, because micromanaging a team in the middle of a gunfight would be a nightmare, especially on a controller. If anyone gets downed, including the player, they can be revived by another squad member, so you have an incentive to take good care of your team, because it will help you keep each other alive. And speaking of getting down, there is friendly fire in this game, like Fixer over here putting a sniper shot from my cranium by accident. Or maybe he actually wanted me dead for some reason, I'm not sure.
Command, we might need another Delta lead. Sir, you okay?
Anyway, my point is that you have to be careful about accidentally hitting your allies, especially with explosives. Oh, and if you think that you can deliberately abuse your subordinates with impunity, well, first of all, you're a monster. And no, you push them one time too many and they will turn on you. You have no idea how much it pained me to actually record this footage. Okay, but who are we going to be shooting here? Well, the game actually has a rather healthy enemy roster, ranging from the classic Federation battle droids to Geonosians to Trandoshans of different varieties. Only the standard B1s can be considered cannon fodder too. All the other enemy types present an actual threat. Super battle droids, for example, are surprisingly tough and you need proper team effort to take down each one of them. Or, of course, you can simply blow them up with the grenade launcher. Enemy AI isn't particularly impressive, but some of them have a nice trick or two under their sleeve. Like super battle droids using shields to protect themselves from thermal detonators. And this is where the crux of the gameplay lies. Most enemies aren't just idle targets that will happily let you shoot them, so beyond simply being a good shot, your success depends on proper tactical decision making. At the very base level, you can simply order your squad to concentrate on a specific enemy, which also has an added benefit of displaying their health and highlighting them for walls. But more often than not, you will have to make more complex decisions. For example, do you order someone to take a sniper position and cover you from afar, or is it better for all of you to stick together? Do you want to send someone to place a demolition charge, for example? Or maybe it's better to do it yourself while your squad distracts the enemy? Do you try to revive your fallen comrades immediately, or do you clear out the enemies first? When I get downed, I usually take VL and simply reload my save, but sometimes it pays to let your squad deal with the situation and then come revive you. My favorite room in the entire game is this one, where there is some time before the enemy arrives and you have to quickly organize your defenses. Some levels also put you in rather extreme conditions, like having to fight your way to the bridge of an enemy ship, hold position while one of you cracks a console and then evacuate. All under a 5-minute time limit. While it's not necessarily difficult, having to make all these decisions on the fly combined with the simple joy of shooting your enemies is a lot of fun, which is further reinforced by your squad mates.
Sev, how many kills you got today, Psycho?
With a new wise guy.
Keep this comm clear, you two.
Calm down, Fixer. Just having a little fun.
They call out incoming danger during combat, they will praise you and each other for good performance,
Excellent shot, sir.
and likewise they will disparage you for messing up a lot.
Well, maybe 38's a copy of a copy of a copy.
There is also a lot of fun banter between Scorch and Sev, with Fixer sometimes acting as their straight man. Boss himself has a few good action hero lines as well, though he only really lets loose when he's alone.
You lizards need to learn that I'm a lot scarier than you are.
Even the serious mission-related dialogue is fun to listen to. All of this makes you actually care for these characters, and, you know, it also helps that their AI isn't brain dead. Even if core gameplay weren't as good as it is, the Delta Squad would have probably still carried the game. Which is great because the story in this game barely exists. There is an overarching plot about the Separatists aligned with Trandoshan slavers, but the only thing that amounts to is that you have to shoot them both. Well, I'm sure Sev is happy at least.
Damn, I don't believe it.
What's wrong, Sev?
I lost count of my kills.
Beyond that, you simply move from one objective to the next while shooting all the enemies. The only thing that really happens is when... Actually, you know what? I don't want to talk about the story anymore. Let's move on to aesthetics. Republic Commando is very authentic to Star Wars in terms of both visuals and sound. The clone troopers, the droids, the blaster sounds and all that. You show this to anyone and they will say, yeah, this is Star Wars. Even the stuff that debuts in this game is given a good explanation.
Shotguns? I didn't think anyone used projectile weapons anymore. An energy weapon that looks like a slug thrower. I didn't think lizards were that nostalgic.
The only thing that really sticks out is that the Wookiees are really big here and kind of remind me of the Bigfoot from Harry and the Hendersons. But, as I have already mentioned, the overall tone here is grittier than usual. It will become apparent as soon as you meet B1 battle droids for the first time, who have this unpainted, rusted appearance. All the enemies also really like splashing you with their internal fluids every time you kill them with a melee strike. Thank goodness you have a Viper. The game also doesn't shy away from showing regular Твою мать. Anyway, you will see a lot of clones getting killed in rather gruesome ways. That fellow straight up gets decapitated, and a little later on there is someone's severed leg line in the corridor. Hey. Hey you! Did you do it? Yeah, that's what you always say. The same goes for the music. Most of the time you will listen to the classic John Williams score, which I cannot put here because the copyright ninjas will get me. But at certain points the music gets a little different. Republic Commando, along with that one other game, really made me appreciate Military March as a genre of video game music. Okay, I was singing the game praises this whole time, but it does have its minor issues. The diegetic UI looks great, but different elements block each other out sometimes, like so. The difficulty curve is a bit uneven, with certain levels being much harder than the later ones. The final stretch of the game also feels like padding. It does have some of my favorite fights, so I don't mind it as much, but the final campaign as a whole feels less polished than the rest of the game, since this is where I encountered most of the bugs, like everyone's AI giving up over here. Enemy pathfinding kind of glitches out sometimes, and scripts fail to trigger properly. I cannot test the console versions, but I specifically don't remember it happening on my old Windows XP machine, so I suspect it has something to do with compatibility issues on newer systems. The PC version in general isn't really future-proofed. It doesn't have a native widescreen resolution support, and mouse goes into lightspeed at frame rates above 30. Thankfully, there is an easy fix for this one. I'll leave a link to the PC Gaming Wiki article in the description. Republic Commando is an amazing game overall, and one of the best Star Wars games in my opinion. I can't exactly recommend you buy it, because you would be giving money to the people who ruined Star Wars, among other things. Well, I think you already know the solution to that conundrum, so I'll leave that to your discretion. Finally, I want to say a few words about the state of Star Wars as a whole. The franchise is not exactly in a good place right now. I hear Andor was decent, but beyond that it's not exactly sunshine and rainbows, and video games aren't doing much better. Things definitely look bleak at the moment, but it doesn't mean that Star Wars itself is completely ruined. All the things that were good back then are still good right now. The original trilogy is still good, the prequel trilogy is still good, yes, you heard me. Even in terms of games, Republic Commando aside, we still have the entire Dark Forces and Jedi Knight series. We have the original two Battlefronts, Knights of the Old Republic, Empire at War. Hell, we have the Revenge of the Sith on Game Boy Advance. There are tons and tons of good Star Wars stuff to fall back on, so you don't have to waste your time on garbage Disney puts out. And you especially don't have to spend money on it. Simply let them fail. Thank you for watching, dear viewer. You know what to do if you liked the video. Keep on rocking and I'll see you next time.